I clicked the links for Odysee and BitChute. I saw this and I thought, yeah, this feels accurate, especially if you're on social media. You see that, the left got everything they wanted, sort of. They got Biden. Some of them, I guess, wanted someone more like Warren or something, but they got Biden, which is a compromise. So you got the orange Cheeto out of office, and everything has gone to hell. Things are objectively bad. They're much worse than they were under Trump. Trump, for all his failures, he seemed to know what he was doing, where Biden doesn't look good. And I mean, people can excuse his dementia for he has a stutter. Go watch a video of him from 10 years ago. He was slowing down 10 years ago, but he was much better than he was now. And the thing is, the reason he didn't run in 2016, because he knew in 2016 he wasn't up for it. He knew he was slowing down in 2016. So also he didn't want to be Epstein by Hill Dog. But he, even in 2016, if you watch his videos from then, he was not ready for office. He was slowing down. So then for him to turn around and run 4 years later when he really had issues, that's insane. But powerful people get what they want. So they got him in office, and all of a sudden things are crap. Things are really bad. The left, I guess, I think the milquetoast moderate left, they thought, oh, well, all this rioting and stuff's going to go away. It's like, you don't understand. It was really bad under Obama. And it only peaked under Trump at the end of his tenure, after the Wu Flu Boogaloo, I think. Is that when it peaked? 2020? Yeah, they kind of came together. But all this stuff was like really bad under Obama. And so now the stuff under Biden, it's like, well, it's not going away. It's just kind of the decline of a country. And here's what the moderate left and even the moderate MAGA right doesn't understand about the things like immigration and the puppet masters. The left, if you're on the left and you think you have some control, like you're going to say, okay, enough immigration, we got enough. Give them a couple hundred years to assimilate. No, you're not pulling this. Oh, well, just vote them out. You can't. Voting didn't get you here, and voting won't get you out of here, whether you're on the left or the right. You're not going to put the brakes on this immigration train. The puppet masters, if the puppet masters, Biden and his executive branch, the shot callers, they wanted to keep a border closed and build a wall. Anytime over the past how many decades they could have put a wall in place. You could have you could have declared it a foreign invasion and put American military on the border to keep the borders closed. Nobody ever wonders, like, okay, so how come no one's ever done that? It does seem odd, because the results we're seeing is what they want. It would be pretty naive to think that they don't want exactly what is happening. Thousands of migrants coming across the border. That's precisely what they want. They want to change the demographics of the country. They've successfully done that. That ship has sailed. The only thing you could try to do now would be slow it down or try to seal the borders and let them assimilate. So if you're on the left and you think, like, as a lot of people on the left do, think, okay, the immigration numbers are nuts. You got to seal the borders. Well, your party is kind of built on, who was that kid that Kennedy, or that guy was saying, like, if you build a wall, Mr. Trump, my generation will tear it down. I forget the guy's name. So your party is built on this open borders policy. So how are you going to back down on that when even half of the Democrats think the migration is crazy? Like, you're fundamentally restructuring a country. If that's what the left wants, that's what the left gets. But my point is, even the left says, okay, enough. This has got to stop. This is changing the fabric of society. You're turning America into essentially northern Mexico, which isn't great, because Mexico, Central America, not great places, not nice places. A lot of crime is what I'm saying. And so you're turning America into that. Was that the goal all along? Yes, that was the goal all along, to have this low trust, low in-group preference nation, just the Brazilification of America. The next is he's imposing these mandates to get a spike in your arm for everyone through pressure on businesses, but 650,000 federal employees are exempt. And also the migrants at the border were offered the spike. Many of them refused it, and then they were free to travel about the country. Actually, I think they're spreading measles somewhere. So people are, even if you're on the left, you're looking at a little bit of hypocrisy and going, yeah, so you're pressuring businesses, over 100 people, to get this experiment. But migrants coming across the border can come across, refuse it, and just are free to go anywhere and do anything they wish. Well, that's not a country. It's not an open border society, because the doors are only open one way. You can't go into Mexico, buy property, get residency, become a citizen, and vote. There are very strict laws against that. It's only a one way. So you see like how game theory works, where you're just going to extract from one economy and to benefit another nation. It's a losing game. But the left is kind of, if the left suddenly says, yeah, we're anti-immigration, then are you now the left? Are you still the right? Or are you going back to like a 1980s style moderate left? It's leaving them in a confused position. But like I said, the ship has sailed on that. So even some of them are starting to notice the hypocrisy of, like, Congress doesn't have to have the spike. And there's federal exemptions all over the place. In the executive branch, they're saying, yeah, you got to have the spike. But there's no testing for it. There's no documentation required. You just affirm that you had it. Literally, you just sign a paper that says, oh, yeah, I had it. That's it. That's insane. The next is the overreaching federal power. If you're on the left and you like this big government and you want to see it get bigger and bigger, I guess this is the goal. But they can stop you from flying. If they can stop you from entering businesses, they can essentially disenfranchise you and marginalize you from life in America, creating this second class of citizens who are not willing to have this experimental substance. It's kind of like what happened in World War II. Those issues of saying one group of people are essentially disease carriers. So the left is all of a sudden kind of reenacting history from like 80 years ago, which is kind of a weird flex, because we're trying to keep you safe. But it's an experimental substance with no long-term side effects. How do you know it's safe? Trust the science. But what are the long-term side? I probably can't talk about this without getting a medical strike on YouTube, which means you get a week off and you get a strike for medical misinformation. Already, we're seeing officials go door to door in cities. There are times when workers will go back to a house 4, 5, 6 times until finally someone answers the door. As a reminder, we knock on the doors until we actually get someone to talk to us. And so they'll go back to a house many times to talk about what? The spike? That should chill you to the core. Absolutely right. The founding fathers would be rolling over in their graves. Ashley also said the district is working with Medicare provider to make sure that they're providing shot education. But you're right, it's a choice of theirs to make. Ashley said, so we'll continue to do that education through the Silverman interrupted to say, the president is saying it's not a choice anymore. Oh, my Liberty Tree. Good news is some red state governors are starting to fight back. Ron DeSantis, yeah, he's the guy who made it illegal to criticize Israel in college campuses or state-funded schools. Yeah, he's not your guy. Oh, Trump actually did that too. He's not your guy too. So the state power you're trying to fight back. Ultimately, if Biden continues along this way, you're not going to resolve this in the courts. You're going to resolve this through a civil disagreement, a states' rights issues versus federal supremacy. I mean, you're not going to argue this legally because it's a group of people saying, yeah, we don't want to do this. We want to go back to having states, 50 independent states collected together, not a federal, amalgamation of one king. It's like we have 50 governors for a reason. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys all next episode.